Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So, how was your Sunday? Refreshed? How was your Sunday, guys?
Good, sir.
Okay. Good morning. Okay. Shall we start? So, today there will be 2 hours of thermal engineering class. Okay. In the first hour, we will complete whatever the theory portions are there left over for the second of thermodynamics. And from the second hour, after the break, we'll be starting the problems on it. Okay. Shall we start then?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in the last class, we were discussing about Kelvin-Planck statements, is it? Kelvin-Planck and Clausius statements of second law of thermodynamics. I will just have a recap of that, and we shall directly go into their equivalence. Okay. So the first statement is known as Kelvin-Planck statement. It says that a heat engine cannot produce a work output. A heat engine, the main function of the heat engine is to provide the work output as that. So a heat engine cannot produce the work output if it exchanges heat with a single temperature reservoir. So that is the statement of Kelvin-Planck. That means he says there must be two thermal reservoirs between which a heat engine has to exchange its heat so that it will give you the work output. Otherwise, giving out the work output is not possible according to Kelvin-Planck. Okay, so that is the statement of Kelvin-Planck. The next one being the Clausius. What does Clausius say? If there is a hotter thermal reservoir and there is a refrigerator and there is a colder colder region of space. Okay, you cannot transfer heat from colder region to hotter region without providing any work input. So you have to provide a work input. Then only there is a possibility of transfer of heat from a colder region to a hotter region. From a hotter region to a colder region, it naturally flows because of the law of heat transfers, is it? But in order to transfer from colder to hotter, what you have to do, you have to work on the system according to the Clausius. So this becomes the positive statement and this becomes a negative statement. Okay. Remember, both of these statements are the negative statements that they say it is not possible or it is not available like that. Okay. Any doubts with this? Kelvin, Planck, and Clausius? Because you must be clear about this, then only can understand the equivalence of these two. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts in Kelvin, Planck, and Clausius?
Sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Yes. Can anyone just read out the Niharika? Start from here.
Okay. The Kelvin-Planck and Clausius statements appear to be different altogether,
Yeah,
but are interlinked and are complementary to each other.
exactly.
A device satisfying one statement and violating the other cannot exist. Thus,
Yes.
violation of one statement leads to violation of other and cannot prove proved like
Like,
a mathematical theorem. cannot be proved like a mathematical theorem.
Like a mathematical theorem. See, what does he say? Kelvin Planck and the Clausius statement. This seems to be different, but they are complementary to each other, he says. That means both are giving out the same meaning at the end of it, but seems to be different. That is one thing he says. Second thing, a device cannot exist which where it satisfies one law and violates the other. I mean to say, a device can be built in such a way that it violates both the laws or it obeys both the laws. So violating one and violating two, accepting two is not possible. Either it has to violate both the laws, either it has to obey both the laws. Such is the situation. That's why both of these statements of Kelvin Planck and Clausius togetherly they have put forth as the second law of thermodynamics. That is the basic reason. So at the last, he says there is no mathematical way to prove that Kelvin Planck is equal to Clausius, but conceptual way can prove it uh, through a concept of explanation. You can prove this equivalence between the Kelvin Planck and the Clausius, but not in a mathematical way. So that you have to remember. Let us see how we can prove. It is very, very simple, guys. If you just observe the figures, you can understand it. First, we shall see. First, we shall violate the Clausius statement. Try to violate the Clausius statement. Automatically, what happens? Your Kelvin Planck statement will be violated. That is the first case. In the other case, what we'll be doing, we'll be violating the Kelvin Planck first, and I will be proving that the Clausius statement is also violated. How? We shall see that. Okay. So in this thing, whatever you are looking into, what are the different components you can observe? What are the different components you can observe? See, this is
High
very
temperature,
important.
low temperature.
The next 5 minutes, what I teach is very, very important. It's a matter of 10 to 20 seconds. Just would be there. With that only, you'll get the equivalent. So kindly concentrate. Okay. So different equipments in this figure which you're looking into.
Source, sink,
There is a source here. There is a sink. Correct. Another two.
heat engine,
There is a heat engine here. Yes.
heat
And
power,
heat
pump,
pump.
Heat pump.
pump.
So heat pump can also be called as refrigerator if my area of concentration difference. I already discussed about it. If I'm more concerned with the lower temperature region, then I would term this as what? I would term this as refrigerator. If I'm more concerned with the heating a particular source, then uh, then I will call this as the heat pump. That is how it differs. Okay. Now, see in this heat engine and heat pump, both of these equipments, I will try to violate which law I should violate here. In the first case,
Clauses.
Clausius I have to violate. What does the Clausius law say? That you cannot transfer the heat from lower temperature region to a higher temperature without any work input. Without working on the system, you cannot transfer heat from the lower temperature region to the higher temperature region. So this is the statement given in the Clausius, which I am violating in this particular step. Is it violated? See, I am transferring heat from a lower temperature region to a higher temperature region without giving any work input. So work input is zero here. Did I violate it? Did I violate the Clausius statement here? I am transferring the heat from a lower temperature region to a higher temperature region, but I am not giving any sort of work input, but yet I am giving, say, here it is Q2 and here it also Q2. That means I am transferring the heat, but I am not giving any work input. Am I violating Clausius or not?
Yes.
Yes, right. Everyone agreed on this? Am I violating
Yes.
Clausius
Yes, sir.
statement? Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, here it is very much clear that I have violated what? the Clausius statement of second law of thermodynamics. Let us come to a heat engine where I should apply my Kelvin-Planck, is it? Now, in the Kelvin-Planck, what happens? See, heat is being observed from a higher temperature source, and heat is being thrown out to a lower temperature sink like this. There is a work output which is equal to Q1 minus Q2. Now, if you observe, Q2 amount of heat is being ejected out here, and Q2 amount of heat is being taken inside the heat pump. Okay, how much? Q2 amount of heat is ejected out, Q2 is taken in. Then what is the necessity of the sink man here? Does sink play a role here? So here Q2 is ejected, here Q2 is taken. So can I just join like this? I mean to say, if Q2 is ejected here, can I just join directly like this? Because Q2 is ejected here, Q2 is taken in. What is the meaning of having a sink there? I can completely isolate my sink. Is that possible or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because Q2 is ejected here, Q2 is taken in the heat pump. So then is a no use of sink or a source over there. So I can just directly connect isolating the sink, what I've done here. Yes or no? So I have isolated my sink completely. Okay. Now, if I try to analyze this particular thing as a combined system, then that means I'm combining what and what here? Heat pump and heat engine. If I just try to analyze it in a single system, that means I'm seeing it as a whole system, heat pump as well as my heat engine. Okay, it is receiving Q1 minus Q2 amount of heat from the source, a single source, and the work output of this combined system is also Q1 minus Q2. That means if it is receiving 10 kilowatt of heat and it is converting entirely it into 10 kilowatt of power, whether it is violating the Kelvin-Planck statement of second law?
Yes.
Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So in the second system, what happens when you treat the whole system as a combined system, Q1 minus Q2 amount of heat is being received as heat, and Q1 minus Q2 amount of work is being extracted out of the system. That means Q1 minus Q2 curve is converted into Q1 minus Q2 W entirely, which is absolutely impossible by the Kelvin-Planck statement of second law. According to Kelvin-Planck, what must be there? There must be a sink. There must be a second temperature reservoir where it has to exchange the heat. Then only it can produce the network output. So it cannot produce the network output if it is exchanging heat with a single source. That is the Kelvin-Planck. But you are producing the whole amount of work output here by exchanging with only one temperature source, which violates the Kelvin-Planck statement of second law of thermodynamics. So thereby, I can justify that. I can say that if I violate this thing, Clausius statement, in turn, I would be violating the Kelvin-Planck statement of second law. Understood? Okay, let us read it. Nishchit. Nishchit? Nitin George?
Yes, sir.
Nishchit. So just read out here, read it from here. Everyone just concentrate on whatever it is being written in the form of explanation. And it has been given in a very diluted language, so I have taken it from that thing. Okay, so it's good. Read out, yeah? Nishchit.
Consider a thermal reservoir at temperature T1 source and T2 sink as shown in a figure. Let us assume that the Clausius statement is incorrect. Consider heat pump.
Just a minute, Mr. I want everyone to concentrate on whatever he is reading and try to match my explanation with whatever is being written in the statement and try to analyze whatever is being written. That is very important. Okay. I want everyone to concentrate on this, whatever Nishchit is reading. Yes, Nishchit.
Consider a heat pump which transfers Q2 quantity of heat from low temperature sink at T2 to high source at T1 without any work input. That is W
Without any
is
work
equal to
input.
0.
That means without any work input, you're transferring heat from a lower temperature region to a high temperature region. This system violates what? Violates the Clausius statement. Yes. Next, Nishchit. Second one.
Consider a heat engine which works as per Kelvin's Planck statement. The
Yes.
heat engine receives a Q1 quantity of heat from a high temperature source
Yes.
and does useful work W is equal to Q1 minus Q2 before
Yeah.
rejecting Q2 quantity of heat to a low temperature sink. By
Yeah.
applying first law to the device, W is equal to Q1 minus Q2.
Yes, exactly. So Q1 minus Q2 is the work output, which obeys the Kelvin Planck. Yes, next. Third one. Nishchit.
Consider combination of HP and HE. The system
Exactly. The
absorbs
combination of HP
two.
and HE in the sense heat pump combined with heat engine. Exactly.
This system absorbs Q1 minus Q2 quantity of heat from high temperature source and
Yes.
delivers work W is equal to Q1 minus Q2, leaving the sink T2 unaffected.
T2 is
The
unaffected.
resulting the resulting device works as a PMM.
So what is PMM2, guys? It is a device which obeys the first law of thermodynamics, but it disobeys which law? What is PMM2? In Suraj? In Suraj. Muhammad Amin?
Yes, sir.
So what is PMM2? Remember? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So what is PMM2 in the sense? PMM2 is a device which obeys the first law of thermodynamics, but it disobeys the second law of thermodynamics, which is what happening here. So whatever heat flow is equal to the workflow. That means it obeys the first law, but it is exchanging heat with a single thermal reservoir, but yet it is giving the work output, which it disobeys the Kelvin-Planck statement. Yes or no? Nishchit, continue.
Yes, the resulting device works as a PMM2, which is the violation of Planck statement.
Yes.
Thus, violation of Clausius statement leads to the violation of Kelvin's Planck statement.
Any doubts in this equivalence explanation? Any doubts? Understood?
No, sir.
Okay. Similarly, we shall try to prove now, if you violate, I have already understood that if you have violated Clausius statement, automatically the Kelvin-Planck statement would be violated. As that, now, we shall violate the Kelvin-Planck now and try to see that Clausius statement is also violated or not. So we shall try this in this particular thing here. Okay. Yes, violation of Kelvin-Planck statement implies the violation of the Clausius statement. Okay. Namita?
Yes, sir.
So can you just read out for us? Start from here.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Consider thermal reservoirs at temperature T1 and T2 as shown in the figure.
T1
Let
and
us,
T2 are here.
let us assume that Kelvin-Planck's statement is incorrect.
Yes.
Consider a cyclic heat engine absorbs Q1 quantity of heat from source T1.
So what happens if Kelvin-Planck statement is violated initially? That means you have built a heat engine where it absorbs Q1 and gives away Q1 amount of work without transferring nothing to the other temperature reservoir. That means it is just exchanging heat with a single temperature, whatever heat you are giving, entirely it is converted into the work. That means Q1 is the heat input and Q1 would be the work output. So that is what he says. Yes or no, Namita?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
And does an equivalent amount of work, W
Yes,
equals to Q1.
to Q1.
Consider a heat pump
Mm.
which operates in a cyclic,
Mhm.
absorbs Q2 from
Mhm.
sink and delivers W equal to Q1 plus Q2.
Exactly. So here,
Let
from here, if it is, just a minute, from here, if it is Q2 amount of heat is being observed and Q1 amount of work is being done on the heat pump, what will be this thing? This would be Q1 plus Q2. Okay, so Q1 from this side and Q2 from this side combined, it will be Q1 plus Q2 here. Yes, continue, Namita.
let W be the work done on the device. The
Yes.
device operates
Mm.
in conformity with the Clausius statement.
Mm-hmm.
Consider the combined system. In this case, work delivered by the heat engine
Mm.
is used to derive
Mm.
heat. Then heat pump delivers Q1 plus Q2, among which Q1 is used to run the heat
Mm.
engine,
Mm.
and combined system delivers Q2 to the source at T1.
Mm.
But heat Q2 itself cannot flow from T1 and T2 as
T2.
T1 is greater than T2,
Yeah, exactly.
without which
Using.
without using any external work. This violates the
Exactly.
Clausius statement.
Exactly. So when you look into a combined device of these two, what happens is your combined device, which is this, okay, will take away Q2 amount of heat and give away Q2 amount of heat from lower temperature region to a higher temperature region. But if you look into a combined device, there is no sort of work input for this device. Is there any work input for this device? For the combined device? Only heat is getting transferred from Q2, from lower temperature to a high temperature. Q2 amount of heat is getting transferred from lower temperature to a higher temperature, but there is no sort of work input anywhere else here. There is no sort of work input. It violates this Clausius statement, does it? You're transferring the heat from lower temperature to higher temperature. You're not working on the system. That's why you're violating what? You're violating the Clausius statement of second law of thermodynamics. That's why if you violate the Kelvin-Planck, even your Clausius statement will also be violated. Similarly, if you violate your Clausius statement, your Kelvin-Planck statement will be violated. So that is what you establish the equivalence between the Kelvin-Planck as well as the Clausius statement in this particular conceptual way. Got it? Any doubt, guys, in this? Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, a few more theoretical concepts are there. We'll take another 10 minutes for this, which are reversible and irreversible processes are there. Examples, okay, fine, you can just. Carnot engine is there. The Carnot theorem is very interesting. We shall look into that. Conclusions not required. Reversed heat engine, yes, required. Carnot theorem. Thermodynamic temperature scale not required. That's all. Okay. So what is a reversible process and irreversible process? You already came across in the module number 1. So what is that? Anyone? What do you mean by reversible and irreversible processes?
Process which can be get back into the same system. It's called as reversible
The
process.
process which can be get packed into a same state.
Example, converting of a solid into liquid and again converting liquid back to solid.
That's right. Very good. So what is a irreversible process by anyone other than Karthik? So what is a irreversible process?
The process in which a system cannot return back to its original position again.
As simple as that. So always keep your definitions, always keep your concepts to a simplistic level. Don't make it too much complicated. So if you just keep it simple, the things would be simple. Reversible process in the sense you cannot get back to your original position. So once the process has taken place, that is done. So that is irreversible process. According to you, according to all of you, in fact, which process exists in this universe in the most percentage, I mean to say, whether the reversible processes are more or irreversible processes are more in this universe, entire universe.
Irreversible.
Irreversible processes are more in this entire universe because reversible processes are very, very limited. In order to make a process reversible, it has to be in a quasi-static way. Again, a new word which is already dead. So what is a quasi-static process? I do not expect the exact definition, but at least a hint of meaning in your head, whatever you have about it. That's enough for me. So, what do you mean by quasi-static process?
All the states are in equilibrium.
All the states are in equilibrium, exactly. Yes. Other meaning, quasi-static. Very good. Other meaning,
So the reactions happens very slowly.
exactly. Very good. Very good. So the reaction happens very slowly. So I can put it in this way, Abhinav. So I would provide the energy very slowly. So if I provide the energy slowly, then reactions will automatically be at the slower paces. So if I provide this energy to a system very slowly, that every state in that will be in equilibrium. It will not get disturbed, will be in equilibrium, but yet energy gets increased in the system and the reaction happens in the system. And such a process is known as a quasi-static process. The primary feature of this particular process is every state in that particular process is of equilibrium state. Not only the initial and the final states, but all the states in the process will be of equilibrium states. That is what the quasi-static. If the process is quasi-static, it is mandatory that it could be a reversible process. Okay. We shall read this content all theoretical stuff and try to discuss about it. Muhammad Tausif Ali. Muhammad Tausif Ali. Adarsh. Adarsh. Muhammad Tausif and Adarsh, not there. Next, Amrit.
Yeah, sir.
Yes, Amrit, can you just read the statements, theoretical stuff there?
Uh, from reversible process, sir.
Yeah. A reversible or ideal process is one in which,
A reversible or ideal process is one which both the systems and surroundings can be restored to their respective initial states by reversing the direction of process.
yes,
These processes do not leave any permanent changes in both systems and surroundings. The reversible process must be quasi-static process. This
yes.
reversible process gives maximum work output in the engines and reduces work required to run devices like refrigerator, heat pump, compressor, etc.
Any doubts in this paragraph? Understood? Okay, Amrit, carry on.
Yeah. In many processes, when reversed, system and surroundings do not regain initial states without any other inputs and leave net change in both system and surroundings.
Okay.
These processes are called irreversible or natural processes. The reasons for making process irreversible are termed as irreversibilities and are usually grouped into internal and external irreversibilities.
Exactly. So
The first
the
one,
factors, just a minute, Amrit. The factors which affects the process to be irreversible. I mean to say, what are the different factors that will affect a process and make it irreversible? So those factors are called as irreversibilities, and these irreversibilities are of two types. Now, number one is internal irreversibilities and external irreversibilities. What are internal irreversibilities? In the sense, the factors which are present inside the system, that is within the system. Because of those factors, your process cannot be a reversible process. So such reversibilities are known as internal reversibilities. There could be external reversibilities. That means if the factors which stays away from the system, stays out of the system, but yet influence the system or the process to be irreversible, and make the process to be irreversible, staying away from the system. And even such factors are known as irreversibilities, but termed as external irreversibilities. Okay, carry on. So there are few of irreversibilities factor which are just given. Carry on. Who was that reading? Okay.
okay, sir.
Amrit, yeah.
Friction, electrical resistance,
Yes.
inelastic solid deformation,
Mm.
free expansion, that is unrestrained expansion,
Yes.
transfer of energy in the form of heat through finite temperature difference, lack of equilibrium during the process, and mixing of two different substances.
So all these are different irreversible processes. So let us see few examples of this irreversible process. Thank you, Amrit. Okay. Next, Ashwin K. Ashwin K.
Yes, sir.
So these are few reversible processes. Okay, examples they have given. So can you just read out the first one, which is the frictionless motion of solids?
Yes, sir. On a smooth plane, the block moves under the action of gravitational force. Block, the block from the base may be led up to another inclined plane and eventually come to rest and regains its original state.
Yes, exactly. So what is it? This is if I have a GIF, something like that, or sort of video, it could be very easy to visualize this thing. Suppose think this particular plane is a frictionless plane. That means it is oiled up. There is zero sort of friction. So when you keep in this particular segment, what happens? This block will automatically slide and reach here. Yes or no? If I just to tilt, I mean, if I make this particular thing as base and tilt this down like this, that means I am doing it like this now. Okay, your block will be here. Automatically, what happens? Because of the gravity, it moves down like this. Understood? That means it has reached from state 1 to state 2 initially. When you tilt it down like this, when you tilt it down, it will reach from state 2 to state 1 as it was in the previous state. That becomes a reversible process. Clear? Visualize this. Easy, right? Got it or not, man? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Expansion of a spring. This is very easy. Ashwita, carry on.
Shall
Expansion of the spring. Can you just read out this?
expansion of a spring. The force F causes the spring to extend until the catcher engages in.
Okay.
By lowering the catcher, slowly relaxing the F, the process can be made reversible and initial state can be restored.
That's it. Slow adiabatic gas expansion. Even this is also, let me explain this directly without reading it. So that would be very easy. Okay. Slow adiabatic expansion in the sense there will be an expansion of process without the loss of heat. So adiabatic in the sense the value of Q would be 0. That means there is no heat exchange or between the system and surroundings, and such a process is known as adiabatic process. So if there is a slow adiabatic compression, okay, and which gives away the work, okay, let's use this, which gives away W amount of work, okay, onto the system, and gases gets expanded. So in the reversible fashion, what happens if I just act upon W amount of work onto a system? Initially it was giving out the work, is it? So that's why it was expansion. Now if I just add W amount of work, again your piston would regain to its original position, which was this, okay, which was this, so that you are turning your system to be a reversible system. That was one thing. And slow thermal compression also. So in this thing also it is very, very same, but infinitesimal higher temperature points are very much achieved in this. Okay, you know, need not go in depth of this because there is separate derivation in this regard. So no need of that. Let this markings be as it is so that you'll get an idea. Now, there is a process of irreversible process. Don't go off for all this what we can say, equations and all, okay. It is not required for you, so just understand the examples. That's it. See, there will be a flywheel and there will be a brake like this. If you apply a brake, what happens, it gets attached to the flywheel and it stops the flywheel towards 0 rpm. Because of the friction between the flywheel and the brake, what happens, your heat gets produced, is it? Your heat gets produced. Now if I give the heat back to a system, if I give heat back to a system, whether the flywheel will rotate back? Understood my question? Am I audible, man?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I just, what I said is there is a flywheel, there is a brake, and
Yes,
if I
sir.
apply the brake, what happens? Your heat will be, if there is a 200 rpm, it will be 0 rpm. And in order to stop it, the friction force is being used and the heat is being generated during the process. Now, if I give heat back to a system, whether the flywheel will rotate?
No, sir.
No.
No,
That
sir.
is why this process will become what? This process will become a irreversible process. And similarly to the other transfer also, heat transfer to a finite temperature difference. Okay, if there is a hotter region and if there is a colder region, so this is a hotter region and a colder region, eventually with the law of heat transfers, what happens? Your heat gets transferred from a hotter region to a colder region. Okay, but without any work input. Now we are not giving any sort of work input. Whether the heat can, if the colder region, from the colder region to the hotter region, whether the heat can be get transferred, that cannot take place, where the Clausius statement will come into picture. If you want to transfer the heat from the colder region to a hotter region, definitely you must work on the system. That's why making it a irreversible process. Free expansion. Free expansion in the sense, if there is a gas cylinder, okay, there is a gas cylinder or whatever you can say, your perfume bottle and all, sprays and all. So all those, if you just press it, what happens? The gases which is compressed within the cylinder will get expand against the vacuum, not eventually vacuum in the atmosphere, but if the expansion occurs against the vacuum, suppose treating atmosphere as vacuum, if it gets expanded against the vacuum, then such a unrestrained expansion, that means there is no restriction for its expansion, such an unrestrained expansion is known as a free expansion. So this free expansion is also again a reversible process, is it? That is one thing. Stirring process also. So if you just, all these are examples, man, of irreversible process. If you stir a gas, the heat energy gets liberated. Again, if you give back the heat energy to a system, then you cannot get the work output. Your shaft will not turn back again from the heat whichever you provide. So your work can be converted into heat, but your heat cannot be converted into work back again, thereby making it to be a reversible process. So these are all the irreversible processes examples. Keep this in mind. Okay, they might ask in your examinations. The last one of this particular topic is the Carnot principle. Okay, it's already 10 o'clock. I hope everyone will be tired by now. Okay, we shall take a break of around 15 minutes. Start at 10:15 again using the same link. Okay, Carnot principles are there, reverse Carnot engine. Okay, fine. After that, there are problems, but only Carnot engine is there. So once you understand the Carnot engine, we shall not go too much depth into it because as that is not important for you. And so we shall just have a gist of it and understand what is a Carnot engine and Carnot cycle and reverse it Carnot cycle, and then we shall start the problems. Okay, have a break and come back soon.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
Kiran sir just called me up and he says he wants to take the class, it seems. So, hopefully, you can leave this meeting and join Kiran sir class. He already sent the link to you. I guess you can join that. Okay. Meet you in the next class, guys. Okay. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, attendance?
Attendance, I will take it from the Kiran sir. Okay.
Okay, sir.